Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher tzar me'od, Gesher tzar me'od, Gesher tzar me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher tzar me'od, Gesher tzar me'od. Ve'ha'ikar, lo lefachet halal. Ve'ha'ikar, lo lefachet halal. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher tzar me'od, Gesher tzar me'od, Gesher tzar me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher tzar me'od, Gesher tzar me'od. All the world is a narrow bridge, and the essential thing is to not give in to fear. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to begin our experimental Shabbat service by reading from the end of this week's double parsha, which is the magnificent climax of the book of Exodus. So, Laura, you want to come down and read that for us?
Shalom. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the presence of Adonai filled the sanctuary. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it, and the presence of Adonai filled the sanctuary. But when the cloud lifted from the sanctuary, then the Israelites would set out on all of their journeys. But if the cloud did not lift, they would not set out until it lifted. For the cloud of Adonai was upon the sanctuary by day, and fire was in it by night, in view of all of the people of Israel on all of their journeys. For the cloud of Adonai was upon the sanctuary by day, and fire was in it by night, in view of all the people of Israel on all of their journeys. Amen.
So that's the promise, the hope, and the guarantee of our Torah, that we should feel the presence of God among us and with us through all of our journeys, through all of our exiles, through all of our isolations and quarantines. That's why we've come together this evening on Shabbat, to invoke the presence of God. The divine presence is always with us, by day and by night, and we can think of day and night metaphorically. Day meaning when we feel in control and everything is going smoothly in our lives and we have nothing to worry about, but also by night, meaning when things are not going well, when the world feels unfamiliar, when everything is turned upside down, when our normal routines have evaporated and everything is dissolved and we feel like we're in a strange new territory. Even then, and especially then, the presence of God is right here with us, accompanying us and inside of us. It's said that when 3 or more are gathered together, and we have 3 physically in this room, but you'll see that we're modeling and practicing social distancing for you. But even though we're physically apart, spiritually we're together. It is said that when 3 or more are gathered together in prayer, that the Shekhinah, the presence of God, dwells among them. The divine presence is not limited by physical separation or social distancing. This divine presence is not limited by technology or computers. In fact, it can work through technology and computers. Every one of you who is listening to this recording, you are with us right in this room this evening. We are connected. We are one with each other and with all of the communities of Israel throughout the world on Shabbat. Bim bam. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, shiri diri diri bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat Shabbat, Shabbat Shabbat shalom, Shabbat Shabbat, Shabbat Shabbat shalom. We can't hear you in there.
Hey.
Shabbat shalom.
Hey.
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. We hope you were all singing along with us. So this is our first Shabbat together in our new virtual reality. So please bear with us. We're actually going to try to have fun together. And it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be clunky. I'm really grateful to Laura and Zach for co-leading with me this Shabbat. If you have the prayer book, which I don't, I have to walk off the screen to get it. If you have Mishkan Tefillah at home, I'll be announcing the page numbers and you can follow along. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Just sing along or hum along with us if you don't know the words. There are going to be times when we're reading the prayers, and if you want, you can just close your eyes and listen. Maybe we'll try to find a way to put the prayer book online for you in the coming weeks. And we'll build on this first experiment for as long as we need to. Because I think we're in this for the long haul. This is going to be a marathon, not a sprint. So we need to practice patience with each other. We need to practice humility. We need to practice gentleness and be extra kind, and we will get through this together. So let's take a deep breath as we welcome Shabbat together, and I'll ask Laura to come down and light the candles for us. Maybe while Laura is doing this, you can just take a few deep breaths and enjoy this holy moment with us.
If first you don't succeed, try again.
We always have trouble with the candles.
You know, they trick candles this week.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehavik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
If you have your prayer book at home, we are now on page 5, and let's all recite the Kiddush together with Zach.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei bari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kosho b'ahava u'ratzon Zikaron lema'aseh כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen.
On 1 second.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. My iPhone says it's running out of juice. How can that be? Okay, I think we're good. We're going to keep going. All right. I told you there'd be glitches. So we'll continue with the blessing of the parents over the children. And if you're at home, take a moment to gather your children together. We need to feel each other's touch so much these days. So I invite you to hold your children close and tell them that you love them and bless them. And we'll start with boys today. So repeat after me. For boys, Yisimcha,
Yisimcha,
Elohim,
Elohim,
Ke'Ephraim,
Ke'Ephraim,
U'Ki-Menashe.
U'Ki-Menashe.
May you be blessed like our ancestors Ephraim and Menashe.
May you be blessed like your ancestors, Ephraim and Menashe. And Ephraim is your Hebrew name. So.
And for those of you at home, if you have girls, we'll now recite the blessing for them. Please repeat after me. Yisimech,
Yisimech,
Elohim,
Elohim,
Kesara,
Sarah,
Rivka,
Rivka,
Rachel,
Rachel,
V'Leah.
Leah.
You're blessing your mother now? That's nice.
We're in for the long haul, as I said. No one knows how long it's going to be before we return to some semblance of normal. Actually, we may never return to the way things were before this virus outbreak, and maybe that's not all bad. My hope is that there's good that will come out of this eventuality. Actually, there's definitely going to be good that comes out of this, because that's how it always is. We always grow through challenge and adversity if we allow ourselves. But meanwhile, I think what causes us the most anxiety is the uncertainty of all of this. But you see, that's what Shabbat is all about. Shabbat is called a sanctuary in time. Just as the Israelites constructed a sanctuary in the desert, at the conclusion of which, as Laura read, the presence of God inhabited and dwelt among them, we can construct a sanctuary in time, which is to say a sanctuary out of time, a sanctuary beyond time. They say that Shabbat is a taste of the world to come, or a taste of the world that is coming, the promise of a world that is always coming beyond our immediate reality after all this is over. Throughout the centuries of their long exile, our ancestors always dreamt of a time when exile would end. And what supported them in that hope was Shabbat. Shabbat was their sanctuary where they could transcend the suffering of their own day and age. We can do that too in our own day and age. Disengage. Disengage the Shabbat. Don't turn on the news. Don't run and read the next dire prediction. Instead, cultivate your spirit. Cultivate love. Cultivate beauty. Cultivate serenity. Cultivate shalom. Shabbat shalom. I promise you, no, don't take it on my authority. our tradition promises you. Quote, when I keep Shabbat, then Shabbat will watch over me. Shabbat is a sign forever between God and me. Ki eshmera Shabbat, those of you who have your Siddur, page 11. Ki eshmera Shabbat, yishmereni. Ki eshmera Shabbat, yishmereni. Oti leomead beno veni. Oti leomead beno veni. Ki eshmera Shabbat yishmereni. Ki eshmera Shabbat yishmereni. Oti leomead beno veni. Oti leomead beno veni. So Zach, I'm going to ask Zach to come down and lead us in the Chadodi. You know, there's this custom on the 9th verse. We're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. There's this custom to rise and turn and face the door on the 9th verse. And I invite you, wherever you are in your homes, to join us that way and stand when we get to the 9th verse and imagine Shabbat entering, personified as a queen, beautifying your home at that very moment. Zach? And let's use maybe Lechadodi, that one. Is that okay?
That's for Collins. And in keeping with that, throughout this whole service, if you are so moved, please sing your praises or your hymns or your thoughts in your own homes to bring about the Shabbos space as we all welcome in Shabbat together. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Yishmi'anu el hamichad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shibbo tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu b'necha, yim mekor abracha, me'irosh mikerem nesucha, zumase b'machavaticha. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, yira orech u'mi'uri, uri shir daberi, kevod Adonai alaych legila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei
Yehudi likrat kala, v'neshama nikavela. Please be seated, and we're going to continue with the Song of the Angels. And what I often love to say about Shalom Aleichem, those of you of the prayer book, it's page 24, is that we are the angels. So let's greet each other as if we are the angels of Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu Melech Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Seitem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
I was thinking that when we're together, this is the point where we often go up and greet each other and wish each other Shabbat Shalom. So just turn to your loved ones and wish them Shabbat Shalom. And we wish you Shabbat Shalom. And you wish us Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. I'm so really grateful to be here with you for this Shabbat.
We both are.
Shabbat Shalom to both of you.
Shabbat Shalom, my son. This is a really bittersweet kind of thing to be able to, really this is the first time I've ever done services with you since your bar mitzvah, like this, in our congregation, on this occasion, and it brings me a little comfort to be with you, and I hope that it brings the rest of our community a little comfort to all be together like this. Bless you, Rabbi. Bless you, Zach. Shabbat Shalom.
Let's continue with the Kaddish. Those of you of the prayer book, it's on page 26.
Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rava,
Amen.
Yomad yivrach yotei v'yamlech malchutei, b'chayechon u'yom echon, u'chayedechol beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, u'vizman kariv ve'imru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rava mevorach, le'olam olam le'omaya, yibarach, yibarach ve'yishabach, v'ipar v'shomam v'naseh, v'tadar v'taleh v'talah, shemei nekudashah b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram be'alma, ve'imru, Amen.
Before we rise for the Baruch Hu, which is, introduces the evening service proper, Those of you may have noticed that we just recited the Kaddish, which is a prayer that, according to Halacha, Jewish law, requires a minyan, or a quorum of 10 Jewish adults. I find it ironic that according to current CDC guidelines, physical gatherings of no more than 10 people are prohibited, whereas in Judaism, physical gatherings of no less than 10 people are considered valid for the recitation of certain prayers. In the Reform and the Conservative movements, in the last couple of days, they have issued legal rulings, responsa, that permit virtual minyanim. In other words, when 10 or more are gathered in virtual space, it is now permitted to recite the Kaddish. Now, the service that we're doing right now, I know it's not in real time, it's being recorded. Nevertheless, I've made the rabbinic decision to include, during this critical time, the public prayers that bring us closest together, the Baruch Hu, the Kaddish, and the Kedusha. We need to be brought together now more than ever. And even though our prayers are not simultaneous, the angels on high are collecting and gathering all of our prayers together, like so many flowers in a bouquet. And the angels make out of them a garland and place them on the heads of the Holy Blessed One. So please rise as Zach leads us in the Baruch Hu. First prayer of the evening service, which is always on the alternation of day and night, whether it is day or whether it is night, whether we pass through periods of joy or traverse periods of sadness and fear. This underlying cycle attests to the underlying order of the universe.
The shadows of evening fall, and stars appear in the heavens. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Night follows day, but the sun dispels darkness and brings warmth and growth to all that it touches.
A time to plant and a time to reap, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing.
This, my friends, is the order of the universe. In all of these, God, Adonai, is found.
Day and night, dawn and dusk, illness and recovery, life and death.
Blessed are you, eternal God, for the day and its work, and for the night and its
Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdir ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, Tamid Imoch Aleinu Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. So our second prayer of the evening service is on the theme of love. And please join in the chorus, even though you don't have the words in front of you. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we're too embittered to hear. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. So now, before the Shema, I'd like to lead us on a short guided meditation. So I invite you to sit comfortably in your chairs, and if you have anything that you're holding on to, you might put that aside for just a second. And if you're not already doing so, you might want to close your eyes and take a deep breath. Everything is just the way it's meant to be, and we are here together in this moment. You might want to just check in with your bodies right now, your breath. And the whole thing is to not judge or not evaluate, but just notice. Notice your breathing. Notice your feelings. Notice your physical and emotional sensations, whatever they may be. Whether you're feeling excited or nervous or calm or anxious. A lot of our anxiety these days is based on uncertainty. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, or even today. Who is contagious? What might be safe for me to do or not safe? It's important to validate our fears and not judge ourselves for being fearful. But at the same time, we shouldn't add to our fears. We shouldn't exacerbate our fears. And we do this by making up stories about what might happen, what could happen. What if this happens? What if that happens? Our minds are great at concocting stories that don't exist yet. What if I get sick? What happens if a loved one has to go to the emergency room? What if I run out of toilet paper? When we notice our minds creating stories about eventualities that don't exist right now, we can observe that and reel ourselves back to what is true right now. Yes, it's important to be prepared and to be safe and to protect ourselves, but we still need to stay in the territory of what we know now to be true. So when our minds are creating stories, we can just refocus on the here and now and know that right now we are safe and we are not alone and we are one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We'll continue with the V'ahavta, and Zach, if you want to come forward for that, on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושמנתם על לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך וקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך
Let's read together in English at the bottom of the page. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments
and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God. Adonai Elohechem. Amen.
So for our Geulah reading this evening, Laura's going to read a poem about the rebirth of spring, and in many ways we feel ourselves metaphorically in winter now, and this poem reminds us that there is always the promise of rebirth and renewal, no matter what we're going through. And those of you with a prayer book, you can turn to page 267.
As I looked, the poplar rose in the shining air like a slender throat, and there was an exaltation of flowers, the surf of apple tree delicately foaming. All winter, the trees had been silent soldiers, a vigil of woods, their hidden feelings scrawled and became scores of black vines, barbed wire sharp against the icy white sky. Who could believe then in the green, glittering vividness of full-leaf summer? Who will be able to believe when winter again begins, after the autumn burns down again, and the day is ashen, and all returns to winter and winter's ashes, wet, white, ice, wooden, dulled and dead, brittle and frozen? Who will believe or feel in mind and heart the reality of the spring and of birth, in the green, warm opulence of summer and the inexhaustible vitality and immortality of the earth?
Thank you. We'll continue with the Mi Chamocha on page 40.
And just like our ancestors did before us, please raise your voices in joyous praise as we sing Mi Chamocha on page 40. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot, O Sefer, Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha nedar b'kodesh, Norah tehilot, O Sefer, Malchutecha ra'u banecha, Pokei ayali de Moshe u'Miriam zeli anu ve'amru Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo mi'achazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai El Yisrael.
Thank you. So as an introduction for the Song of Shabbat, the Vishamru, which will be on page 44, many of you have seen this poem that's been circulating the internet this past week, a poem called Pandemic by Liz Unger, who is a Unitarian Universalist minister. And Laura will read this for us.
Pandemic by Liz Unger. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel, cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing, pray, touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. You can hardly deny it now. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has become clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live.
Ki sheshet yamim asa
come to the Amidah, and this is a time to go inward. And I'd like to invite you to feel all of us praying together, even if we may not, in fact, be praying together simultaneously. We are praying together as one community, in our homes, but together and connected with each other. The three of us here will be facing the Ark. If you're at home, you might stand and face east. If you don't have a prayer book, that's perfectly fine, because the most important words of all are not on the page, but in your heart. So take all the time you need and be seated when you're finished. We'll begin on page 46.
Adonai sifatai titachu fi agi tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Mehabrora Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot V'Hinei Livneihem L'man Shemo Yahweh Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Yezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei Metim Atah Rav Le'Hoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed Mechayei Metim Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Unato Vishenei Afar Michamocha Bal Gedurot Umidom Melach Melech Memit Umechayem Umatzmiach Yeshua V'nehemana Talech HaChayot Meitim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei HaMeitim Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kadoshim L'chol Yom Yalelucha Selah Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. firmament, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart.
So now we come to our prayer for healing, our Misha Berach prayer. Of course, this is a time that we're thinking of healing globally and also for our loved ones. By the way, those of you who would like me to read the name or names of people that are your own loved ones in this service, please send me their names by Thursday night each week, and I'll be happy to include them for the Misha Berach. Some of you have already done so, in addition to our communal list. Page 253.
Misha Berach
Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu.
May the source of strength,
Who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal. And before I turn to our communal list, we pray for healing for all those throughout the world who are afflicted with the coronavirus. And in our community, David Barlabel, Nancy Brand, Bob Goldstein, Carol Thompson, Kiva Ben Abraham Lippman Ubasha, Diane Legomsky, Pauline Spoolber, Hank Berman, Susan Bloom, Andrew McGrail, Michael Butler, Ed Goodman, Jeff Weaver, Naomi Pardue, Susan Sizer, Deb Garrettson, Jeff Stone, Norma Rezitz, Elaine Ostrower, Harav Yosefa Bat Devora, Harav Mikael Ben Moshe Veleba, Sarah Bat Abraham, Stanley Nash, and now I invite you at home to call out the name or names of people that you're thinking of, even as we do that here.
George Lori Harrison, Nancy Harrison, Lori Harrison, George Finley, Neil Tyson, Taylor Escobio, Richard Denning.
And I will add Zlata Bat Esther, Malka Chana Bat Esther, Rivka Bat Rachel, Arya Leib Ben Yosef, Phil Casper, Miriam Rice, and Abraham Ben Chaim B'Tzipora.
Misha Berach
Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu.
Bless those in need of healing
With refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So those of you who are at home, please rise at this point for the Aleinu, page 282. Zach, if you could go right in front of the ark. Page 282, please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kodas
Latei gedula liotzer reshit, shelo asaynu goyei ha'atzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu
Elukayim, V'gor Aleinu Kechol Amonam, Ve'anachnu Korim, U'mishachavim U'modim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim Ve'oseh Haaretz, U'moshav Ikaro B'Shamayim Imarav, U'shchinatu Zo, Yahweh Meromim, U'Eloheinu Einod, Elokeinu Efes Ulato, Kakatu B'Torato, V'yadat hayom le'hashevota elevavecha, Hi Adonai Hu Elohim, B'shamayim ima'av, V'al haaretz
We therefore hope in you, O God, that we may soon behold your power and experience your healing, sweeping away all falsehoods, all fears, and all suffering from the earth, repairing the world under your sovereignty. May this time of trial bring all humanity together in unity and common purpose. May we come to realize that we are one global family, equally vulnerable, equally blessed by your presence. Then shall your realm be established upon earth and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever.
V'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai v'melech ha'kol haaretz, Bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad, U'shemo echad.
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have died, our own loved ones, those whom our friends, neighbors, and community have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, let us meditate on the meaning of love, loss, life, and death. Before I read from our communal yahrzeit list, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence as we recall those who have died already from the coronavirus. Since this is our first Shabbat after a hiatus, I'm going to read the yahrzeit list from last week and this week. First, we mourn the recent death of Kendall Barrett Jackson, the father of Jason Jackson. We also call to mind those whose yahrzeits occur on this Shabbat and last Shabbat who died in years past. James Applegate, the father of John Applegate. Helen Bright Belth, the mother of Joe Belth and grandmother of Ann Belth. Harriet Berman, Paulette Fagan's mother. Bud Bloom, Julie Bloom's father. Lewis Camp Jr., the father of Jean Camp. Edward Collins, the father of Judy Rosenbaum. Dorothy Graff, the mother of Diane David. Alan Lockett, the brother of Penny Austin. Miriam Metz, the mother of Perry Metz. Fred Mitchell Michelson, the brother of Joni Meyer and Linda Meyer Wright. Phyllis Pratt, Jane Maurer's mother. Louise Rarick. A. John Rose, the father of A. John Rose. Sidney Rome, the father of Dina Speckler. Lillian Shankerman, the great aunt of Carolyn Lipson Walker. Jetta Shepherd, the grandmother of Amanda Field, Shoshana Shifris, the mother of Jordan Shifris, Bernard Serrata, Daniel Serrata's father, Ted Sumakis, the brother of Stacy Berman, Helen Taft, the mother of Carolyn Gettold, Tom Walker, George Walker's brother, Ida Zucker, the mother of Phyllis Dumas. I invite you in your homes to call out the name or names of people that you're thinking of for the Kaddish. And those who are reciting the Kaddish, please rise and join with me on page 294.
Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei Rava, v'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayev v'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rava v'vorach ve'olam u'amei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kedusha b'richu, le'elam yinkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, v'amiram v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba mishmaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Let me say to you the words of our tradition, Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar v'alei Tzion v'Yushalayim v'ha'olam. May you be comforted, and may we all be comforted among those who mourn in Zion, Jerusalem, and throughout the world. And let us all say,
Amen.
So please be seated, and at this point I'm going to ask Laura to read our brief announcements that Diana prepared for us.
Thank you, Rabbi, for leading a wonderful service this evening, and to our service leaders, Zachary Harrison and Laura Zimmerman. And thanks to B. Khan, we'd like to thank her for the exquisite vases and the beautiful flowers that you see behind me at the pulpit.
Yeah, I just want to interject one thing. The flowers are fresh. You can't tell that in the recording, but they're actually fresh flowers up here, so we're really grateful to be for that.
They're really add to the spirit of Shabbat by being up here on our bima. As many of you know, our events for the next few weeks have been canceled so that everyone can stay home as much as possible so that we can flatten the curve and stop the spread of the coronavirus. However, please make plans to join us for the virtual congregation meeting on our bylaws for Sunday, April 5th. Instructions will be provided to members by President Leslie Levin a few days prior to the meeting. We will continue to provide services each week on YouTube. Anything that we do virtual, there will be instructions in the weekly email as well as on our website to access everything. It is our hope that this pandemic will end soon and we can go back to our customs and our face-to-face contact. Shabbat Shalom. It's time for the virtual Oneg. Enjoy snacks in your own kitchen, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.
So I just want to thank Laura and Zach from the bottom of my heart. We had a couple of glitches today. We actually recorded 30 minutes of the service before we realized that we actually weren't recording, so we had to do it all over again. You don't know that, but I'm telling you that now, so I really appreciate your patience this morning. So this is our first experiment. If you have suggestions for improvement, email me while you think of them. I want to end the services the way we began, by reading from the end of the book of Exodus. For the cloud of Adonai was upon the sanctuary by day, and fire was in it by night, in view of all the people of Israel on all of their journeys. So that is my prayer and blessing for all of us today this evening, as we go on our journeys by day and by night, that we may feel the presence of Adonai with us all the time through all of our journeys. And you know, when we reach the end of a book of Torah, as we are doing this Shabbat, we stand and we proclaim aloud in a loud voice, Chazak, Chazak v'nitchazek, which means let us be strong, let us grow and continue to grow in strength. So that's what I'd like to leave us with this evening. Let us be strong and let us grow and continue to grow in strength. We'll finish with Gesher Tzar Melo.
Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Gesher Tzar Me'od. והעיקר, לא לפחד עליו, והעיקר, לא לפחד עליו.
The entire world is a narrow bridge, and the only thing, the essential thing, is to not give in to fear. Shabbat Shalom.
Good Shabbat.